Welcome to Mind Blow, the ultimate destination for jaw-dropping content that will surprise, inspire, and entertain you every step of the way. If you love discovering the unexpected, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and share with your friends to keep the excitement going. Your support helps us keep blowing minds and creating content you'll never forget. So buckle up and get ready, because this is just the beginning.
Imagine a tense scene, warships and fighter jets crowding the seas and skies around a small democratic island, Taiwan. Every day the island wakes to the hum of military engines and the distant silhouette of foreign vessels on the horizon. The world watches, but for those living here, this is not just a headline. It's a daily reality, a constant reminder of the fragile peace that hangs in the balance. This is Taiwan's daily reality, as China intensifies its pressure, sending ships and planes ever closer, testing the island's resolve and the world's response. The tension is palpable, and the stakes are higher than ever. Just to the south, the Philippines, long a quiet observer, now finds itself unable to watch from the sidelines. The proximity is undeniable. The fate of Taiwan and the Philippines are increasingly intertwined, their destinies shaped by the shifting tides of regional power. In a bold and unprecedented move, the Philippines is transforming its northernmost islands into a military outpost. The once remote Batanes Islands are now being fortified, drawing a new line in Asia's escalating power struggle. This is not just a symbolic gesture, it's a clear message to the world that Manila is stepping up to defend its interests. For years, Manila's focus was turned inward, dealing with internal threats and disputes in the South China Sea. The north, facing Taiwan, was largely unguarded, its strategic importance overlooked. But the world has changed, and so has the Philippines' approach to security. China's growing aggression toward Taiwan has forced a dramatic strategic shift. The Philippines can no longer afford to ignore the threat looming just beyond its northern shores. The risk of conflict is no longer theoretical, it's a real and present danger. For the people of Batanes, the possibility of conflict is no longer a distant concern. It's a crisis that could erupt on their very doorstep, changing their lives in an instant. The islands, once peaceful and isolated, are now at the center of global attention. The Batanes Islands, long celebrated for their natural beauty and tranquility, have become the heart of the Indo-Pacific's most dangerous flashpoint. The landscape is changing. Radar installations and military vehicles now dot the rolling hills, a stark contrast to the serene scenery. The construction of a new naval facility here is more than just an infrastructure project. It signals that the Philippines is ready to defend its sovereignty, to stand firm in the face of growing threats, and to play a bigger, more assertive role in regional security. This is about more than runways and concrete. It's about building a credible deterrent in an uncertain world, about showing both allies and adversaries that the Philippines is prepared to protect its people and its territory. As tensions between the US and China continue to rise, smaller nations like the Philippines are fortifying their positions, forging new alliances, and preparing for an unpredictable future. Joint military exercises and increased cooperation with partners like the United States are now a regular part of the region's security landscape. The quiet Batanes Islands, once a symbol of peace and isolation, have become a front line in a new era of strategic competition. The world is watching, and the stakes could not be higher. The Batanes Islands sit at the very heart of the Luzon Strait, a remote and windswept archipelago that few people outside the region have ever heard of, yet its location is of immense strategic importance. This stretch of water forms a critical maritime choke point between the Philippines and Taiwan, acting as a narrow gateway between the South China Sea and the vast Pacific Ocean. Every day, thousands of commercial vessels carrying everything from oil and gas to electronics and food navigate this narrow waterway. For export-driven economies like Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, the Luzon Strait is a vital artery, connecting them to global markets and supply chains. Any disruption here, whether from conflict, piracy, or natural disaster, would send shockwaves through the world economy, causing delays, shortages, and price spikes far beyond Asia. Militarily, the Luzon Strait is even more significant. It serves as China's main route to the Pacific Ocean, allowing its navy to project power beyond its coastal waters. At the same time, it's a key area for the US and allied navies to monitor, patrol, and potentially block Chinese movements. In the event of a conflict over Taiwan, this strait would become a fiercely contested battleground, with both sides vying for control of these crucial sea lanes. Chinese strategists see the Luzon Strait as essential for isolating Taiwan, cutting off its access to outside support and blocking U.S. intervention. Control of this waterway could determine the outcome of any future crisis. For the United States and its allies, the strait is a zone to intercept Chinese forces, gather intelligence, and maintain freedom of navigation in the region. The Batanes Islands, positioned right in the middle of this strategic corridor, offer a perfect vantage point for surveillance, early warning, and control over maritime traffic. Placing advanced sensors, radars, and communication equipment here gives the Philippines and its allies a major advantage, allowing them to detect and track any movement in the strait almost instantly. As tensions rise in the region, the Batanes Islands have become prime strategic real estate, fundamentally altering the military balance and making this once quiet archipelago a focal point in Asia's great power rivalry. The Philippines has responded by establishing the Mahatao Naval Detachment on Batanes. This modern facility, inaugurated in 2024, marks a major shift in defense policy. Strategically located to oversee the Bashi Channel, it provides a permanent home for naval assets and rapid response capability. The base supports not just the Navy but also the Coast Guard, Air Force, and Allied forces during joint exercises. Equipped with modern sensors and communications, it's the Philippines' new eye on the Luzon Strait. The Mahatao base transforms the nation from a passive bystander to an active player in regional security. This small outpost sends a clear message: the Philippines is stepping up to defend its interests. For most of its history, Batanes was a forgotten frontier, its people living in isolation. The rise of China changed that, as maritime pressure shifted Manila's focus outward. The real turning point came with China's military escalation around Taiwan, forcing Philippine planners to confront the risk of war just 200 kilometers away. The potential for a humanitarian crisis and the threat of China controlling the Luzon Strait made action urgent. Now, Batanes is seen as a critical asset, not a liability. The Mahatao base symbolizes a new strategy, fortifying the nation's northern gate. In today's world, no border can be left unguarded. The Mahatao base serves two vital missions: defense and humanitarian response. As a shield, it's a forward-deployed hub with advanced radar and surveillance, giving real-time awareness of the Luzon Strait. Stationing naval assets here allows rapid response to security incidents and deters potential adversaries. In a crisis, the base can support patrols, enforce maritime law, and deny control of the strait to aggressors. As a lifeline, the base is crucial for disaster response in a region battered by typhoons. Its facilities enable rapid delivery of aid and rescue operations. In a Taiwan conflict, it would be a staging point for evacuating over 150,000 Filipino workers. The base is both a strategic shield and a compassionate lifeline. It's about preparing for war and serving people in peace. The Mahatao base strengthens not just Philippine defense but also its alliances, especially with the United States. Under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, the U.S. has access to bases near Batanes, and Mahatao aligns with alliance goals. The base offers a forward location for joint activities, enhancing interoperability and rapid response. During exercises like Balikatan, it serves as a staging area for troops and equipment. The base also boosts security partnerships with Japan and Australia, who rely on the Luzon Strait for trade. Expect more joint patrols and naval visits from these allies. By investing in its own defense, the Philippines becomes a more valuable partner. Manila is signaling it's ready to share the burden of regional stability. The Philippines is now an active contributor, not just a host. China's reaction to the announcement of the new military base has been both swift and unmistakably hostile, sending shockwaves through the region and beyond. Beijing has publicly condemned the move, calling it a direct provocation and accusing the Philippines of acting as a pawn for U.S. interests in Asia, fueling anti-Western sentiment at home. For Chinese leaders, the new base at Mahatao is more than just a military outpost. It's a strategic complication that could undermine their plans for a potential blockade of Taiwan and disrupt their control over vital maritime routes. The base's location threatens China's vulnerable southern flank, forcing Beijing to divert resources and rethink its military posture in the region. Now, Chinese military strategists are urgently reviewing their contingency plans, aware that the balance of power in the South China Sea is shifting in real time. For the Philippines, the risks are immediate and tangible. Military personnel are on high alert, knowing that their country could become a frontline target in any future conflict. The threat of becoming a target is no longer hypothetical. Chinese military drills now openly simulate attacks on Philippine positions, raising the stakes for everyone involved. Manila also faces mounting Chinese pressure, not just militarily, but economically, as Beijing hints at possible sanctions and increased harassment at sea. Yet, despite these dangers, the Philippine government believes that the risks of doing nothing are even greater, and that inaction would only embolden potential aggressors. Leaving the northern approaches undefended would send a dangerous signal, inviting aggression and leaving the country's most vulnerable regions exposed to incursion. The sense of vulnerability is real, and the need for a stronger deterrent has never been clearer. Build in the new base is a calculated gamble, a bold step to strengthen national defense and Project Resolve in the face of growing threats. It also deepens the alliance with the United States, signaling to both allies and adversaries that Manila is not standing alone. The hope is that a stronger defense posture and closer cooperation with the U.S. will deter conflict more effectively than a stance of neutrality ever could. By taking this stand, the Philippines is choosing to be a frontline state, assertive, prepared, and determined, not a helpless bystander in its own region. It's a bold and risky move in a neighborhood where tensions are always simmering, and the margin for error is razor thin. With every new development, the stakes continue to rise. For the Philippines, for China, and for the entire region, the consequences of these choices have never been higher. The Mahatao base puts the Philippines at a crossroads, facing both risks and rewards. The immediate reward is stronger security and a credible defense in the Luzon Strait. The base plugs a major gap, making the nation a harder target and a stronger regional player. It also deepens alliances, bringing more military aid and diplomatic support. But the risks are real. The Philippines could be drawn into a great power conflict, and the base could become a target. The challenge is to strengthen defenses without provoking war. Ultimately, Mahatao symbolizes a new, assertive Philippines, determined to shape its own destiny. The decision was a calculated one, made in a high-stakes environment. The security of the Indo-Pacific affects us all, and the Philippines' stance deserves global attention. The ripples from this small island base will be felt around the world.